Why did the prototype Iron Man fail with readers? Because his character wasn't fully ironed out. Why did the prototype Black Panther fail at stealth missions? Because when you got close, you could hear him purr. What happened every time prototype Hulk went to battle? He wound up in a sketchy situation. I'll be here all week, folks. Let's get into the prototypes of characters, iterations of very popular characters that existed sometimes months, sometimes even years before that character was actually introduced. It's so cool to me to see where they went with these characters, because they had to try them out in some way. Before I get in, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget about that Mint Hunter 10 coupon with Dynamic Forces. That'll get you 10% off anything with their website. Same goes for Dynamite Entertainment. I thought we'd start off with the oldest entry. Let's go to 1939 with Funny Pages #1 from Centaur Comics. By the way, good luck actually getting your hands on this. But within you have a prototype of Bruce Wayne, which is really cool to see. Fairly unrecognizable, but still pretty darn cool. Some of them get more obvious. Speaking of Batman, let's go with a Black Hawk 117 from 1957. This is one of the more obvious ones. This is Mr. Freeze, and they even call him Mr. Freeze on the cover. I just had one of these in. It's a pretty scarce book, I gotta say, too. Not too many graded. And I did quite well on it. So watch out for that one. That is definitely a cool prototype. Tales of Suspense 32 is a prototype of Doctor Strange from 1962. It's the Sorceress Sazek. Watch out for any Doctor Strange prototypes, though, because really, like any sorcerer, kind of could be said to be a prototype there. Sometimes it's more obvious, like I said, with Hell Rider #1, where you had the first appearance of Bryce Reese, vigilante, with a motorcycle that had a flamethrower. Very obviously, this is a Ghost Rider prototype here. This is also the first appearance of Butterfly, the first superpowered black female in comic books. Pretty cool. In Two Gun Kid #77, you actually got a prototype of Black Panther, and what's cool about this one is actually on the cover. It's a white guy within the suit, though, and he's actually a villain. But what's cool is this was published only months before Black Panther came on the scene, so that's definitely pretty cool. In fact, when they reprinted this, they actually changed the character to be all red. Strange Tales 97 is actually the first Aunt May and Uncle Ben. That's right, a 1962 Stan Lee story with both of Peter's guardians there, so that's pretty obvious. This next one's crazy. This one's well known. First appearance of the Living Hulk, which is obviously a prototype for the Hulk. This came out in 1960 in Journey into Mystery 62, and you've also got another cover appearance here. Now, I wanted to talk about something more recent. How about with Great Salt Lake Comic Con? It was a 1991 independent thing. Incredibly scarce. You're probably not going to find it. And there's an illustration with a character that says Hellboy on his belt. And that really is the only connection. It came out a couple years before Hellboy's first appearance. So people do like to say it's a prototype of Hellboy. Kind of neat. Also, more famously, you have Dime Press #4. It's a much more closer to the actual Hellboy prototype of Hellboy. Limited to 2,000 copies. This is another one that's going to be pretty scarce. This one's very famous because, again, we've got a cover appearance here. So, Dime Press #4. Then we've got Tales of Suspense 35 from 1962 is a prototype of the Watcher, first and only appearance of a pilot disguised as an alien named Zarkor, and it also is a cover appearance. Chamber of Darkness, I just had one of these in actually, #4, first appearance of Star the Slayer, which is a really obvious Conan prototype here. It was actually specifically done to test the market to see how they would handle sword and sorcery. Double key, though, it's also the first collaboration of Marie Severin and Bill Everett, who would sign their work 7EV. So you know. Keeping it old school, we've got Marvel Tales 116 from 1953, story titled Werewolf by Night. This is a really loose prototype here because, again, werewolves have existed for centuries in lore, but, you know, technically because it's called Werewolf by Night, people like to say it's the prototype for precursor to Marvel Spotlight #2. Something really cool is Superboy #5. Another one from the 40s here. Good luck getting it, but it is a prototype of Supergirl, and that's going to land it into a very expensive pocket here. Another famous one is Tales of Suspense 16. A lot of times Tales of Suspense would be the kind of the run where they would try out some of these characters, if you're noticing a trend here. 1961, you have Iron Man. Well, actually, he was called Metallo. And not to be related to the Superman villain, he's an escaped convict in a radiation prevention suit. Hashtag not my Iron Man. Strange Tales 84 is actually a prototype of Magneto. It even says it on the cover too. That's pretty cool. That came out a year or two before the actual first appearance of Magneto. Also look to DC Comics with Dr. Polaris, a Green Lantern villain that came out just a pinch before Magneto. Two magnetic characters right before. Pretty cool. Amazing Fantasy 11. This one's fairly famous. First, Dr. Octopus. Granted, this dude's an actual octopus. He doesn't take on any human form, but it is a Stan Lee story with a character called Dr. Octopus. Interesting. Another one of those prototypes of Doctor Strange. Journey into Mystery 78. We got another sorcerer appearance here. Again, watch what I said. Some of these sorcerers, a lot of people could point and say that anything was a Doctor Strange prototype. Here's a really famous one. This one's got a nice price tag. Tales of Suspense. Here we go again. 1962. Prototype of Doctor Doom, specifically the faceplate at a near identical mask. And it's right on the cover as well and right within the pages of the story. This one's well known. How about Tales of the Unexpected 16? Let's go to 1957. Prototype of Thor, created by Jack Kirby prior to Journey into Mystery 83. Also, and I don't know if this one predates it, but there is a Batman book that has Thor fighting Batman. It's not the Marvel Thor, it's a Norse god Thor, but still pretty darn cool. Challengers of the Unknown number 3. This is actually one that's one of my grails. I've been chasing this forever. Challengers of the Unknown, especially the really early issues, are a nightmare to find. I don't think it was a run that's picked up very much. Prototype of Fantastic Four came back from space with fire projection, ice projection, size manipulation, and invisibility. Interesting. Another really famous one here because it's the prototype of Wolverine. And this was a comic fan sent in a character that they called Wolverine into Foom magazine issue number 2, shortly after you had actual Wolverine. And what's interesting is this dude's design actually did include regenerative abilities and a metal exoskeleton. You can draw whatever conclusions from that you will. Comics magazine number 1 from 1936. Is the first appearance of Dr. Mystic, a actual Superman prototype. That's pretty cool. I can't say I've ever seen it, and this is definitely the first time I had even heard of it. I don't think you're gonna have it. It's another issue number 1, and it's from 1936. Doesn't make it easy to find. Supernatural Thrillers number 1, I actually just mentioned this in another video. This is a precursor to Man-Thing, Swamp Thing, and the Heap. Very cool. It's an adaptation of a 1940s story entitled It, and there he is right on the cover and within the pages of the story, a very obvious one right here. What prototypes did I miss? Can you think of any really cool ones? I love this type of stuff. Do you have any of these in your personal collection? Are you hunting any of these? Let me know, and as always, keep on hunting. Make sure to come on down to Sentiment Depot's Antiques and Collectibles, located at 238 West Delaware Ave in Pennington, New Jersey. Find so many great books for just $1 and the lowest prices on key comics around. Enjoy a huge selection of graded comics priced up to 20% lower than current fair market value. We are open from Wednesday to Sunday, closed Monday, Tuesday. You got a collection you want to sell? Bring that too. Can't wait to see you there.